So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sultan Amin, and I'm Head of Sales here at Dynamics Consultants. And today I'll give you a quick overview of how Business Central supports day-to-day operations, starting from the home page, because this is where users begin their day and where Business Central delivers immediate visibility across the business. Now, it's possible to open Business Central on many devices. Now, the named users can be logged in simultaneously. So in the web browser, any device with a web browser can log on to Business Central. So I can literally copy, open up another web browser and paste. And you can see I've got multiple screens open. And you can bookmark, so that in the morning when you come in, look at your bookmark, it takes you straight, and it will ask you to log on with your username and password, and you can have multi-factor authentication built in for security. Now I'm going to start off by clicking on this cog, and this takes you into settings. And what we're going to have a look at straight away is my settings. Now in here you will see different values here, but what we're concerned about is the role. Now this is called the role center, and one of the key advantages of Business Central is the system adapts to each user's role. For example, if you're a project manager, you will look into the project manager role. If you're a service manager, you'll look into the service manager role. It's quite self-explanatory. Finance teams see cash flow and approvals. Sales teams see customers and orders. Operations teams inventory, fulfillment and activities. But for today's purposes, I'm going to choose Business Manager. And I'll be logged in as a user with super permissions in the Business Manager Role Center. Now you can give different users different permissions and control who has access to what part of the system and what they can see. So it's governed and it can be configured to exactly how you want it to be. So next up is the applications bar. Now here you can see there are a number of areas that can take you to different parts of the system. So if I click customers, this will take me to all of the customers. Now if you see at the bookmark point here, you can actually remove bookmarks, but I'm going to add it back in. The purpose of this is that when I come in and I start my day, I want to be able to have a quick link straight to my customers and to chart of accounts, and I've just picked up certain key elements that I would like to see. Now the top of the screen here is probably the most important feature that I would say is in Business Central. It's called the Tell Me feature. You see it says Tell Me, and in here, instead of navigation menus, users simply type what they need. So I'll just type in customers, and it predicts what you would want. So then I can type in sales. If I'm looking at sales orders, it'll take me to sales orders, and look, I don't even have to spell it correctly, but it'll take me to exactly where I want to be. Now I think from a customer value point of view, it saves time, it reduces dependency on system knowledge, and it's easier for onboarding staff. Now, if I wanted to say, for example, search, if I type so I can go to general journals, and basically this splits between pages and tasks. Again, if I want to look at general journals, I can click in, and I can also bookmark this page as well. And you can see here, I can see general journals. Now, one of my favorite features is this little thing here, the question mark. When you click on the question mark, it opens up a side pane, and this allows you to go to the gateway that helps you to learn more about the system. So if you click on go to Microsoft Learn, this gives you extensive notes and processes about how to use Business Central. So, it's a very intuitive based system that allows you, not to be bogged down with clunky, non-responsive screens. It's very intuitive. Now, if I close this here and go back to my settings, there's a great little area bit here called Teaching Tips. And if we just hover over it, it says specifies whether to display short messages that inform, remind, or teach you about important fields and actions when you open a page. And you can switch it on and off. So what I would advise is when you are looking at training, or when you are new to the system, just keep it on. And what you will see as I go through this demo, you see these little boxes pop up, which I think are really cool. Now, as we move down to the different areas, you've got actions, and these take you straight to what it says: sales quotes, sales orders, sales invoices. So again, navigation is very easy. What I want to do is take your attention to these three lines here, and this will allow you to explore what Business Manager allows you to see within the system. So you can see you can expand and collapse these menus. So it shows you, within the Business Manager role, what are kind of things that you can see. You can look at the graphic scheduler, you've got intercompany, you've got fixed assets, you've got finance, you've got sales, you've got the Shopify integration, you've got cash management, as again sales here, and you've got purchasing. Now, if you click on explore more roles, this shows you what the whole system can do. Now, you might think, okay, yeah, that looks half decent, but when I expand all, now you can see the full length and breadth of the whole system. Now, but as part of Microsoft's ongoing development of Business Central, it's now embedded, I think probably about 100 reports that come as standard into Business Central. And you'll see these at the top of every kind of bold heading under the major headings. So look, you've got Power BI reports under inventory and warehouse. Under manufacturing, you've got 7. Inventory and warehouse, you've got 13, and so on. But if I just scroll down, this will give you the length and breadth of the whole system. It is a vast library of areas that you can use as a business. So when we say it's an integrated solution, a one-stop solution where you can go and do everything in the business, we're not lying. So you can see, look, it'll go on and on and on. So if I just quickly go back up, I'm just going to go back up here, and I'm going to say collapse. And again, so this sort of takes me to the main headings, the modules, as you would say, within Business Central. So now, as we move down, this allows you to see what are the key things, the KPIs that you want to see within the business. So, and you can color code these to give you warnings and alerts of what's going on within the business. So here you can see more. Everything's quite intuitive. You can drill down. Anything that's got a turquoise color and a line underneath it means that you can open the details for and drill further down into. Okay. So here we've got overdue sales, invoices. You can have a look at them. Obviously, this is just test data. That's why the dates are a little bit skewed. Oh, and what I was mentioning earlier on as well, remember those learning tips that I said? A little box opens up and straight away you can see about customer ledger entries. View and manage all financial transactions posted to customer accounts, including invoices, payments, credit memos and refunds, and apply payments or credits to close outstanding entries and keep customers' balances up to date. You take the tour. You need a bookmark, what we were talking about before. Click next. Open in Excel. We'll come to that. It's a really cool feature. Show the filter pane. Again, we'll come back to that as well. But as I said, this is what it allows you to do. Very intuitive. And as we move down, these are the actual charts that you can see. Now, what this allows you to see are pre-made dashboards for the different roles. So as part of this, we've got them pre-set up, so you can see the top 10 customers by sales values. And you just hover over them. It's very interactive and it's live. And you can see how many sales are done by the Canon Group. You can add and delete accounts, and you can add your favorite accounts. One of my favorites is having the Power BI, which is the data analytics part of Microsoft. It's a visual guide of getting the data and putting it into really nice visual charts. You can plug it in and you can see different dashboards. So if I'm in finance, I can expand. And now you'll see a financial overview, and it's all interactive. And you have filters here, and you can amend what you want to see in these dashboards. Very easy to use, straightforward. You hover over any part of arrows or indents or pyramids. It'll tell you what they are. You can have the income statement, balance sheet, budget comparison, liquidity, and so on. Now, as part of this, I've already got, you have your Power BI app, which allows you, so that was the same dashboard that I had in Business Central. So this allows you to create these dashboards with the filters and the data that you have. So obviously this is a test environment. I haven't got live data that I'm connecting into, but what you will do is that once your data is populated into Business Central, you will then have Power BI, and in this kind of app you'll be able to create your reports and then publish them into Business Central. So the whole point of this is that you can literally go into these reports and you can change them. So it allows you to, change them into whatever way which way you want. You can rearrange the data. You can have them in table form. It allows you to put it into bar charts. It's really extensive when it comes to what you can and can't achieve. So again, and not only does it do it for finance, in workspaces, you can have it for inventory, you can have it for manufacturing, you can have it for sales. So, when I look at sales Power BI, you can have a sales overview, gross profit by item, top 5 customers, daily sales, moving average, sales by item. Again, all these charts can be changed and amalgamated into whichever ones that you want to see. So this is kind of the overview for the kind of first page, as I would say, the home page for Business Central. So now let's look a little bit further into what can and can't be done. So again, coming back to the top menu, which we've customized ourselves, we can click into customers. Here it gives us all our customers, and it has the different information about our customers, about what they do, where they are, what their balance is, their contact, credit limit, and whatever information you want. What you can do here is go to personalize, and here you can add or delete a field. So if we go to plus, you can have extra things in here that you want to see. So you can either add them in or you can actually move them. So it's just very customizable. You can see how everything is done. So if we just click done there, in here you can create your filters, so, and save your filters. So currently in this filter, I filtered that I just want to see the salesperson, which is JR, what location code they've got, and what currency they have. So I can filter and save these filters, and I can have them pinned to my customer's pane. So that means that I can create these filters. So as I come in, I can create more and more to give me the ease of views that I really want to see. Now, something that I really like, and this is the whole point of Business Central because it integrates into the Microsoft Office stack, is this feature here, is where you open it in Excel, but you can edit in Excel. Now, if I just click it in here and open this file, it takes a bit of time just because we're sharing it on Teams. It brings across all the data from Business Central into the Excel spreadsheet, and we can edit this data and put it back. If I change the salesperson to PS, and there's a salesperson there, I can publish. It says publish all data source or workbook updated. If I go back into here and I refresh, it's now taken the details of who's on the customer card. So Merisen Mubeline is not in this filter anymore, but if I go back to all, Mercy Mubeline is under PS. Or if we have a look back to our thing, if we change something here, if we say Katrina Forte is a legend and publish, and you'll be able to see Katrina Forte is a legend. Now, it has certain limitations, but it's done that for a reason. So, for example, if I go back into here and I try to change this so there's not a salesperson PDS or something like that, if I try to publish that, see, it will give me an error. If we open the message center, it will say the row updated in the dataset customer card was not published salesperson's code or table customer contains a value P that cannot be found in the related table. So there are limitations, but it also is a lot of control in there as well. It is a very good tool, but it's a very dangerous tool in the wrong hands as well. Okay. So the next part of the area that I can show you here now is if we go back to Power BI demo. This is just a test environment. So what we can do is when it's your company, you can put your company name there, but you can put down your company name, and you can also change your company logo in the background as well. Now, if we were to show you that a little bit about the warehousing side. So we'll go back into my settings, click on the three dots, and then we go back to warehouse worker. And now you can see your home page has changed again now, but now it's more relevant to someone who works in the warehouse. You've got your picks, your putaways, you know, your movements, job queues, timesheets, assembly orders, warehouse shipments. Again, same thing. You can customize it to whatever you want. Now, what I have done, right, so people who are interested in the warehouse management, as I said, you would see the warehouse element of Business Central here. But this is what a handheld device would look like. And what you can do is from Business Central, it's connected directly into your handset. It's connected via the internet, and it can work offline as well. And it can do everything that you want. You can scan, receive goods, putaways, picks, shipping, inventory recording, counting, moving, you know, what's in production, you know, in assembly, you know, unplanned counts, unplanned moves, bin content, anything that you want, pretty much that you want in a warehouse. I'll just give you some quick screenshots of what it can do. So, you know, put away orders, what it might look like. So it's the Athens desk. If we click on it, you know, we've put it away, some of the functionality. Look, scan bin place, input cannot be empty. You know, it gives you that very intuitive feel. Pick this, you know, this is what a pick list would look like. Again, this is just showing you the art of possible. So when you've got your handheld devices, this is what it would look like. The next part I'm going to show you is manufacturing. Right, moving on to the manufacturing side of the system. Now what we're going to do, the goal is to provide a better understanding of the manufacturing capabilities within Business Central. Now it's important to note that the manufacturing module requires the Business Central Premium license. Unlike the Essentials license, which provides the core ERP functionality, the Premium license includes both the manufacturing and service management modules. So if your organization needs to utilize either of these modules, the Premium license is required. Now to begin, let's look at the data model behind the Business Central manufacturing module. On one side, we have the master records and transactional data, and on the other side, we have setup tables used to configure manufacturing functionality. Now, the manufacturing module primarily allows organizations to track the progress of production orders through defined routing steps. It also includes full bill of material capabilities. Now, Business Central supports both assembly BOMs and production BOMs. The key difference is that production BOMs include scrap information and allow routing steps to be linked directly to materials through a feature called routing links. Now, routing links allow you to specify which raw materials are required at specific routing steps. This enables optimization of forward and backward flashing methodologies within the system. Now, alongside item setup, production BOMs, and routing configurations, the system also manages transactional data through various types of production orders. Now, one example is a simulated production order. This is often used by sales team to estimate delivery timelines. Now, for instance, When a customer requests 10,000 units, the system will evaluate the raw material availability, the capacity planning ledger entries, and the machine schedules. It'll also look at material replenishment timelines. Now, this helps determine realistic delivery dates. Now, the configuration side includes several important setup areas. Now, you define work centers and machine centers. Now, what is a work center? Now, this represents a group of machines, while a machine center represents individual machines. So, for example, if you have 5 punching presses performing the same function, they can belong to one work center, while each press has its own machine center record. Now, during production planning, work can then be assigned to individual machines. Now, additional setup, some of this includes, capacity and efficiency settings, shop calendars. You have to define operation schedules, shift definitions, stop reason codes for downtime, scrap reason codes, machine absences, and these can be such as scheduled maintenance. Now, these absences refer to machine availability rather than employee absences. All of these features become available once the premium version of Business Central is activated. They are not present in the Essentials license. So I'm going to come back to the Business Central home screen, and we're going to click on the clog, and we're going to come into the manufacturing manager role. So now we're going to come into routings, and we're going to choose one of the records. Now, within the product design functionality, in addition to item setup, you can define routing configurations. Routing defines the process required to manufacture an item. Routing steps are linked to work centers or machine centers and include, setup times, run times, waiting times, move times. Now, a relatively new feature allows defining either a fixed scrap quantity or a scrap percentage. And this was only brought in, for example, because some manufacturers always lose a fixed number of units when starting a machine, regardless of batch size. This functionality supports those real-world scenarios, okay? Now, within Business Central, it also supports version control for both routings and production bombs. Now, this is essential in a controlled manufacturing environment where variations and revisions must be tracked. Many organizations also incorporate quality inspection steps directly into routing processes. Now, inspections can occur before production starts, during production, or after completion. These checkpoints can be fully integrated into the routing workflow. Now I'm just going to come back and go into the product design, and we're going to look at production bombs. Now, production bombs, or the bill of materials, production bill of materials, define all components required to manufacture an item, including sub-assemblies. Users can certify bomb versions for revision tracking and utilize routing link codes to connect materials to specific production steps. Additional tools, as I'm just going to click on here, were used. Analysis help identify component relationships across products. I'm going to come back through here and I'm going to click on capacities. Now, capacity planning. Now, capacity planning relies on work centers and machine centers previously configured. So I'm just going to come into a packaging department. Now, each work center can include cost calculations based on time or unit output. The system also supports subcontractors when external operations are involved. I'm just going to come out of here. I'm going to click on load. Business Central includes load capacity planning tools and calendar-based visual scheduling. If I come out here and I click on the graphics scheduler, the graphics scheduler interface also allows planners to view workloads and even drag and drop production orders across machine and types and time slots. Now I'm just going to come out of here. We're going to click here. Now, production orders. Now, Business Central supports multiple production orders. Here we are viewing a release production order. I'm just going to click and go into production order 1011002, the bicycle. Now, production orders define quantities to be manufactured and may contain multiple lines. They also might require components. Now, if we click on the components, now components required for production are automatically derived from the production BOM, although they can be adjusted manually if needed. Item tracking. Right, item tracking enables lot or serial number tracking for components used in finished goods. The production journal records operational results while routing steps define the manufacturing stages required. And if I go up here and click on print, then users can also generate documentation such as batch records or job cards, material requisition documents, shortage lists. Now, if I come back here, with this, you'll see this regularly around the system. It's the Copilot button. With extensive reporting capabilities that are available, you can include, this is including integration with the Copilot features. It also integrates into Power BI and other Microsoft tools. Now, if I come back to the main home page and click on capacities again, there's a lot what you can do with scheduling and shop calendars. So capacity planning depends heavily on shop calendars and shift codes, which define operational scheduling parameters unique to each organization. So manufacturers can configure working hours, shifts, and operational constraints to accurately reflect real-time production environments. So hopefully we've shown you in a short period of time the manufacturing scope and flexibility. Now, Business Central supports both discrete and batch manufacturing scenarios. Now, my colleague Martin from Dynalogic will now show you what additional industry-focused extensions are available for specialized manufacturing environments. Now, all manufacturing functionality operates within the broader Business Central ecosystem. It's fully integrated with the Microsoft Cloud platform. So over to you now, Martin.
Thank you, Saul. Yes, indeed. My name is Martin. I am a partner manager at Dynalogic, a software company focusing fully on solving the complexity of manufacturing. Our solutions are built on Microsoft Dynamics 365, Business Central, and we work with selected partners that understand manufacturing and take good care of their manufacturing customers. We have built our solutions based on experience. We bring end-to-end solutions, not single solutions. Obviously, you can still choose any module of your choice, but we have interconnected solutions. And we focus very strong on discrete manufacturing, and within discrete manufacturing, even on some specific segments. And that is something which is important to understand. You have, let's say, the high volume fixed requirement productions, which we normally address as made to stock. You build something, you create something, or you not build, you create something, you make something, you put it on stock and distribute it to wholesale or retail or whatever. Not specific for one customer, but for larger customer groups. If you go a little bit into less volume, more specific requirements, you get into things like assemble to order, configure to order, or even build to order, where configure to order allows customers to influence the attributes or the items used in a specific configuration, based manufacturing. And a very specific one is engineer to order scenarios, where you maybe produce something only once for a specific customer or a very limited customer group. That is very often also engineered, designed, drawings, CAD drawings. And very often the manufacturing process is also not standard. It is a project-based manufacturing approach. And we have one very specific one. That's the last one also here. That's attribute-based. We'll get to it a little bit later in the presentation. But if you have that manufacturing scenario, you'll recognize it because it's very often oriented around rolls or coils, for example, carpets, and some more. And just to have that clear, our focus is very much into this. I would say the configure to order, build to order, engineer to order, and a little bit less into the pure made to stock, which is taken care of standard default in Business Central very well, actually. So when you need your specific add-ons, it's more in this area. But let's continue. And here you see some of the industries we serve with that. It's not a complete overview, but for example, machinery, or for example, electronics or mobility, it's all served by our solutions. We help manufacturers that are ambitious in different aspects. For example, making sure they are resilient to changes in the supply chain, which is very normal in these, I would say, rough times, geopolitical. Or we serve and manufacturing customers that want to go through digital transformation. They now have legacy systems where there's a lack of connection between the systems, a lot of manual work. Well, many ambitions, different ambitions are there for manufacturers, and our solutions are aiming to help them solving or reaching those ambitions by addressing the customer needs. We do that with standard BC because basically that layer is there and we try to maximize using that. And of course, the partner capabilities, very important. Partners understand, like Dynamics Consultant, understand manufacturing very well, and that knowledge is very helpful to you. And of course, where we come in are the solution layer on top of all of the things mentioned before. And our solutions are resembled by birds, different birds, and we call it our birds blueprints, addressing the symbiosis between the different solutions. And if we zoom in on those solutions, we see 5 here. For today, we will skip the Birds Smart Connect, which is an integration platform, but we focus on Birds Advanced Manufacturing, Birds Document Warehouse, Birds BI, Business Intelligence, and Birds Job Manager. But let's start with the most manufacturing-oriented one, a vertical solution called Birds Advanced Manufacturing. And in that, there are different, let's say, modules, different solutions. It's a stack of solutions, actually. Item configurator, project-based manufacturing, quality management, CAD PLM link, and last but not least, the product dimensions, the one I mentioned before when I talked about the rolls and the coils. At this moment, we will not address this in, let's say, item per item, because for every feature stated here, we have a separate story to tell. So let's start with the item configuration, which is very important in the configure to order scenario, right? What it does actually, it helps the sales to instantly generate quotes and proposals, configuration-based ones. That takes out a lot of time and effort on their side. But we must make sure that the thing they are trying to sell can also be created, right? So we have built-in validation, ensuring that we can only select configuration that we actually can create. Based on that configuration, we will also have a very accurate cost and earnings projection, because we will be able to calculate the cost based on the bill of material, the routing, and the work that actually needs to be done, and all kinds of actual additional cost. The item configuration also allows for configurations within configurations. That might sound difficult, but it is a situation where you have a configuration that is like a mother and child dependency, where you have configurations within a, let's say, mother configuration. And we can even include formulas for specific things that might not have a real cost to it as a fixed cost price, but more is based on, let's say, a standard formula, like this percentage will be like scrap, or there's an additional production process that needs to be followed, so we can add that to the total cost. Just bear in mind that our item configuration makes sure that the whole process from sales to production to delivering to the customer is a controlled process. Okay, again, and this is why we're sometimes showing screens, because, for example, you might think that this solution is outside of BC, but the reality is that it's inside of BC. So users will not have to leave their normal screens. They will stay in BC. And for example, this is a sales order, and I can create a configuration HTML from here. I can do that in an HTML view, like I said, or in a standard BC view. The beauty of the HTML view is you could even publish it in a different way outside of BC. If you, for example, want to put it on a website, and your sales will work together with the customer in a website to make a new configuration. Again, it's not my goal, it's our goal not to go through any nifty detail of this solution, just to understand, have you understand that within standard BC, due to our add-ons, we have configure to order functionalities. Well, that brings us to the project-based manufacturing, which is a total different scenario, very often engineer to order. Important there, obviously, in a project is to not leak money, is the whole budgeting, which we enable much more than standard in BC. The whole planning to make sure that you order the items you need at the exact right moment, because you don't want to fill your warehouses with stock because there's a lot of money involved. You don't want to plan your people too much up front. You want to have them work at that project in the right time, right? So to make sure you use your people and your items as efficient as possible. What is also a very nice feature within project-based manufacturing is you can automate the whole request for quote process, where you launch a request towards multiple vendors that will then give you their information on delivery time and cost price, and the system will automatically fill that and update the system with it. We also address the challenge of shipments, especially if you have like containers for a big machine you have built. The whole management of containers and shipments is also part of that solution. And last but not least, we have extended very much the work in progress functionality. So we have the possibility to have a much more accurate insight on the costs. For example, the cost estimated at completion or the cost estimated until completion. And that is very important. Again, all has to do with making sure that we don't leak margin on project-based manufacturing. And again, not going to zoom into every nifty detail, but here you can see a very nice overview specifically built by us for the whole, let's say, a visualization of the costs involved in the project, the budgeting of that. Specific cockpit that is there for a project manager that can see all the information they need at a glance, which is very important for project managers, obviously. And again, this is all inside of Business Central. Here, for example, have an overview of the actual cost towards the budgeted cost on the different jobs that were executed on the project. And so you can automatically see where things go wrong and where there's a variance in cost. Independent of the type of manufacturing you do, if it's configured to order or it's engineered to order, quality is super important. And we want to have that in every step. For example, in the inbound goods control, it allows you to check on every incoming product to do some quality measurements on that. But obviously, when you produce something based on the incoming goods, the process you have, the routings, the work you do, the items you use, right? You want to make sure that you check the output also, but also during the process, right? So any deviations from the standard or from the quality you need to build must be monitored. I think it's good to mention that for this, we also have integration with IoT sensoring, for example, where you have industrial IoT sensors on machines to measure specific things, which can help you to assess whether you're doing a good job in the production area, yes or no. And even beyond the pure measurement of it, we can also have that recorded into forms or documents for auditing, trail, and so on. That is traceability, which is also super important. So quality management is written in capitals, I would say, within our solution, because we know that if you create things that are not compliant with your quality standards, that you have to do rework, which is obviously very costly. And again, you see standard BC screens, nothing outside of BC. It's all in there for your users to use. And we believe that once you understand the GUI and the user interface provided by BC, which is a very bright and very easy to use one, people will have a low, small amount of adoption time needed to learn to work with those tools, which is very important. Here's, for example, the deviation control, specific measurement that has been done. And last but not least, for the advanced manufacturing apps, is our CAD PLM link for Business Central. You can have an engineering bill of material that needs to be converted into a manufacturing bill of material, and our solution does that for you. We can handle different, formats, even if you would have all the solutions, which will then only give you a CSV, but there's also a direct API or XML integration possible. We also have versioning, where you could have different bills of materials. There could be a bidirectional or unidirectional integration towards your engineering solutions. And like I said, we also are able to define different import templates to get a clear control of the information you need to have synced between your PLM or CAD solution and your ERP, BC in this case, solution. You see an example of an import sheet. Product dimensions, I'm looking at the time and I want to skip this one a little bit if that's okay with you. Like already mentioned before, it is a very specific scenario where we, for example, use the cutting or shorten, allows you to have multiple stock keeping units in your warehouse, the mother-child relationship, and so on, which is managed. It is a very advanced tool if you're into the manufacturing of roll-based or coil-based products. So skipping means also going through these screens a little bit faster, but you see the, well, I would say the usual suspects, right? The carpets where you have different units with different lengths and different width and so on. So that whole measurement part is super important there. And that also even converts into a sales invoice, which makes it so much easier. Okay, that brings us to our next solution. We hope you're still with us. This is called Job Manager, which actually is a very well-used, well-known solution, especially in the Scandinavian market with 22,000 daily users. It's all-in-one solution for time management and job management, which also comes with payroll processing. That means all the heavy lifting has been done to convert all those registrations into salaries, right? And it is a very flexible terminal setup, allowing you to use both a, let's say, a centralized PC or a tablet or even a mobile phone. One additional feature in a Job Manager is our quality control forms, which is basically a quality management light solution within Job Manager. That can be linked to specific jobs to do some checking, some small checks done by the staff that is executing that specific job. Okay, this summarizes more or less what it does. And here we have an overview of all the features related to time recording. That is not specifically only for a job or a project, that is time recording in general, and to also monitor, for example, your balance in your holidays, or to register or even request the days off. You're clocking in at the beginning of the day, or you're clocking out, even breaks and so on. It is very flexible, also for different work schedules that are there. If you have different shifts, for example, a very handy solution for that. Job registration, basically this is the core, where you can register, monitor, track your time on a specific order, on a production order or a project. But it also allows you to register time for internal use, right? For education, for cleaning, for facility management kind of things that can still be recorded in the right way. You can also have like bundle tasks where one person registers for multiple people. All that is possible. And again, a little bit let's say, more advanced look at the payroll processing. I think we are connected to 50 plus different payroll systems. If yours would not be part of that, we would create that for you without cost, by the way. So we have a lot of integration with different payroll systems, making that work so much easier. And last but not least, the questionnaire I've been talking about, that form, that easy quality management solution. Again, it's not the goal for now to go to all the slides, also to all the screens in detail, but please remember, like I said before, all embedded in your standard BC environment, which makes life so much easier. People are used to working with those screens, and they can move, they can find their way in. That's very easy. You will always have these tiles views with clear messages and also some highlights by colors. You'll also be notified if there are missing calculations or a specific approval, a flow, where a team manager must approve the registrations you have made, for example. Also in the fields, not a different way of working, it's the same way of working, the same look and feel, but then on a mobile device. Obviously the screens are then optimized for mobile, but you can even also put in your mileage, you have a small warehouse in your car, for example, and this is very handy for those field service employees out there servicing the customer at their site. Well, that brings us to another solution, which is called a document warehouse, Bird's document warehouse. And this is actually a central document warehouse. This is not a document generation tool. Neither is this a document collaboration tool. this acts more as a strategic backbone for all your business documents. And it's basically takes care of that documents can be accessed in any department, being visible with the right authorization, obviously. And what the Birch Document Warehouse does, it adds science-specific metadata to documents and makes it appear as specific processes. It pops up for your convenience. It gives you a 360-degree visibility on all your documents because they are all stored in one central place. And it stimulates, it boosts actually the collaboration across different departments, because every department, again, with the right authorization, has access to the documents they need. That could mean I'm in a service process talking to a customer that has a case or a service request. I could still go back to the original sales order, for example. And like I said before, the security is very important. That in our case is a context-based security, metadata-driven access control, depending again on your role and on your position, on what you need, and it makes sure that all of that is taken care of. And the beauty of it, it doesn't matter if you are in the ERP, in the CRM solution, or you are just using your normal Teams environment, or you're using our standalone, you will have access to that same document. And as you can see here in the screens, actually have the same view. Here you see the tags that are automatically added. And for example, if it's a sales quotation, customer name, for example, it will all be added automatically. You can have your own advanced search queries, which is very handy. You can save them for later purpose. And the beauty of it, with AI, we can also now use Copilot to have normal language input into the system, and the system will provide you with the info, with the documents you will be needing. So working together is becoming much more easy. You will have an instant view of the documents, even if that document would be being created with a software you are not using yourself. For example, a CAD software, not everybody will have a license for that, but even in Teams, you could still access a CAD drawing, and it will give you even a 3D model of that drawing. Again, we will not go through every detail of this. It is just to show you what it offers and what it could mean for your company. We also have an audit trail to have a much better, clearer understanding who is using the documents in what way. Well, that being said, Birch Document Warehouse, very useful tool. That brings us to Birch BI, the last one of my part of this presentation for you. Thank you for staying with us. This is a quick start BI tool for Microsoft Dynamics. It gives you direct access to very nice pre-built dashboards and content packs without the heavy lifting that has been done for you. We use a unified data model. I'll come to that a little bit later, because that is one of the core things behind Birch BI. And very important to understand, if you would not have one entity, but you will have multiple ERPs, multiple CRM solutions, combined data, and you still will have to have clear insights over those different sources. Birch BI will help you do so. And we use, again, I don't want to make this a too technical story, but we use modern technology like Microsoft Fabric, which is a very good end-to-end architecture for doing, bringing all that data together and for bringing that into very useful insights through Power BI. We call our way the smart way, because literally the hard way would be spending hundreds of days through Power BI consultants that create things for you. That can be done, yes, but the sustainability of that is a question mark, and the investment is very huge, where with our solution you would have a direct value at day one. well, speaks for itself. Flexible integration with Dynamics ERP and CRM, rich content packs, easy to use. And you will see later on, I will get to that, that you can even build your own reports. So what it basically is what you see in the middle. It's what we call our semantic layer, right? So we have the data layer, which is very, well, I would say a spaghetti of data sources all connected to each other. And we did the heavy lifting, making that more tangible, making that more accessible, and then making sure that that is then presented through our content packs. We'll not go, because we're running out of time a little bit, and we'll not go into the details of Microsoft Fabric. Much has been written about it, but let us just summarize that we chose this architecture to be very future-proof, to also accelerate AI adoption because it allows for many AI-powered features and functionalities. For example, addressing your data to a normal language and by querying your data by asking questions as you would as a human being without knowing all the formulas behind it or the different buttons you have to push. What I do want to emphasize on that all success stands or falls with having the right data quality. So together with Dynamics consultants, we strongly emphasize on making sure your data quality is in order before starting with this. Just a small overview of all the out-of-the-box content packs we have ready for you. That in your case would be more on the production side, but also on the sales side, of inventory side. We even have that for specific other ISV solutions, for example, in construction, for PS. But again, we want to give you direct value from day one. And 85% of what you need will be covered by what we give you, but we still train you, key users at least, to be able to create your own dashboards very easily to cover that last 15% to make it your solution. That being said, that brings me to the end. I think the message we want to give together with the Dynamics consultants is, of course, that we want to get that together with you. We want to work based on proven technology that is future-proof, but still focused on your business processes. So I thank you very much for your attention.